Hi everyone, welcome. I wanted to create a special class for those of us who experience anxiety. I have been struggling with it a lot lately, and I'm finding that in order for me to really slow down and be able to lean into my mindfulness practices, I usually need to see what's going on with the body first. And I need to move some energy through my body. This is helpful for me to access my body and see where exactly anxiety lives for me in that moment. So think of this as a really grounding class. If you don't experience much anxiety, great. That's totally fine. But this will just be a super grounded class. So we're gonna get started. You'll need to be near a wall, or if you don't have a wall nearby, you can take a chair and you can prop your legs up on the chair and lie down on the ground. So if you could imagine there was a chair right here, you would just put your legs right there. And maybe a bolster behind your head. For those of you who are gonna join me on the wall, bring a bolster or a pillow, even a blanket beside the wall. And let's find legs up the wall pose. So I like to sit on the bolster, lie down, kind of turn. You kind of got to make your way there creatively. And settle in. You can let your arms open wide. You could let your arms extend overhead, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And maybe even let there be a little bend in your knees. Or just take some time here to really make sure that you feel comfortable. And if you'd like a little bit more of a grounding effect, you can bring your hands onto your belly. From here, we'll just take some slow, deep breaths to start to give a signal to the nervous system that we are okay. So take a big breath in through the nose, and then sigh it out through the mouth. And do that 2 more times. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Maybe really let the breath out be audible so that you can kind of just imagine letting it all go. And then let your breath just come back to a more natural rhythm. But still be intentional with your breaths. So breathing in slowly through the nose. And breathing out slowly through the nose. Don't worry about any kind of count to the breath. But if you are feeling anxious at all or stressed, I'd invite you here to find a little bit of a slower breath out. Try to lengthen the exhale. When we have more of an exhale, it actually slows down our heart rate. And again, just giving that information to our nervous system that we're okay. So breathing in. And try to make the breath out a little longer. And if that causes any more stress or anxiety, just ditch it and just let yourself breathe. Just chill. And see if you can try to connect to the feeling of the breath moving in your belly. Or maybe for you, you feel your breath a bit more in your ribs. Or in the chest. Or just in the nose. Just hanging out, bringing the legs up the wall, getting some fresh oxygenated blood into our organs and into our heart. Really good stuff. So we'll just be here for about 3 more rounds of breath. And then start to bend your knees if your legs are up the wall. And roll yourself off to one side, coming away from the wall or off your chair. And find a little fetal position. So come onto either side, maybe cradling the side of your head with your arm, or you could even place a block there. I like to bring a block under the side of my head. So if you're laying on your right side, your head is on the ground and your left palm can just place right in front of you. And just bring the knees about in line with your hips and start to tuck your tail just a little bit, just a smidge of engagement here. And take a breath in through your nose. Really imagine breathing into your whole torso, like 360 degrees. And then exhale out through the mouth like you're blowing out a candle. Breathe in through the nose. And again, you could even take your left hand to your ribs. And then as you breathe in, really fill up. And as you exhale, feel the ribs narrow. You might even feel your waist kind of shrink. One more time, breathe in. And out. This fetal position can just be really grounding and can bring us a sense of security. So we'll just be here for a little bit longer before coming onto our bellies. But take another couple rounds of breath here. When you feel ready, let's make our way onto our bellies. So you can move the props if you were using them. And you'll stack your hands on one another, let the elbows go wide, and bring your forehead down to your hands. This is crocodile pose, and this is also a really, really lovely way to ground ourselves. Coming all the way down to the ground, face down. It's a cooling posture. If you think about crocodiles, they're just kind of chilling really low to the ground. And you can find some movement here if you'd like. Maybe you bend your knees and let your feet go from side to side and let your hips rock from side to side. If it feels better to be still, let yourself be still. Maybe roll out your ankles a couple times. From here, let's take our time, but start to make your way into a tabletop position. So you'll plant your hands and press into your hands. Come up into hands and knees. You might want blocks here, so bring them in front of you so that they're nearby. And then start to tuck your toes underneath you and rock your hips back so that they're over your heels and you start to feel a stretch on the bottoms of your feet. I like to have my hands on the blocks for some support. And we're going to do some little like baby cat cows. So your hands are pretty close to your knees. So it's not exactly like a tabletop position. And your hips should be over your heels, almost like a toe stretch. But on your breath in, you're just going to rock forward a teeny bit, lift the tailbone up, and arch your back. So extend your back, come into a back bend. And then as you exhale, let your hips rock back, tuck the tailbone underneath you, and then round your spine slowly and tuck your chin last. Inhale to come slightly forward, lift the tailbone up, arch through the whole spine. Cow, little baby cow. And then as you exhale, think about moving from the tailbone first. Tuck the tail, move the hips back, around through the mid back, around through the upper back, tuck the tail. Tuck the chin. And then as you start to rock forward a little bit for this little baby cow, same thing, move from your tailbone first. So how slow can you undulate through the spine? And then after your next one, where you're tucking the tail and kind of coming into a little mini cat, either stay here or take the hands off the blocks, start to rise up for a toe stretch. And I know you might be thinking, like, I thought this was going to be a gentle class. This is an intense pose, so keep your hands on the blocks if it feels like too much on your feet. But this is a really great way to get us out of the head and down into our feet. Get us down into the earth and grounded. One more breath here. Let that go. Release that. Oof, should feel really good. That was a lot. And then just let your hands come right back behind you. So come onto your fingertips and think about drawing your shoulder blades together. And then start to lift your hips off of your heels. So think about tucking your tailbone here. So as you can see, my hips are barely off my heels. I'm really just tucking my tail and getting a really big stretch through the front of my quads. And a gentle passive stretch for my ankles as well. Might not feel gentle and passive at all. It could feel like more than that, so that's okay too. And release that, let your hips come down. And then find your hands on your blocks again. Tuck your toes underneath you, but this time lift your knees off the ground and reach your heels to the ground so that you get a little calf stretch. So you're kind of reaching your tailbone all the way back. I like to have my hands out long in front of me on like the middle setting of the blocks. And so that there's like weight in the front and I'm reaching my hips back. And you can even round your back. You can let your knees open, right? It's gonna feel different if you let your knees go wide open or if you let your knees stay together. So do what feels best for you. Maybe play around with doing both. You could even play with rocking your knees forward and up. So a lot of stretching on the lower half of the leg. And then from here, let your heels come all the way down. Find a forward fold, but really separate your feet really wide so that they're mat width apart. So it's like a little baby prasarita, wide-legged fold. And you can keep your hands on the blocks. Keep your knees bent at least a little bit. And start to straighten one leg and bend the opposite knee as you shift the weight over that bent leg.
So as you inhale, you'll come back through center, straighten both legs. As you exhale, bend the opposite knee and let your hips shift over there as you bend that knee. Back through center, over to the right. Do this a couple of times. And then come back through center. Walk your feet about hip width distance. Bend your knees. Reach your hands towards the ground. So reach your fingertips towards the ground. And think of having a cat spine here. So round, flex spine. Tuck the chin, tuck your tailbone, bend your knees. And then keep reaching your fingers as you roll yourself all the way up. And then let your arms come down by your sides. And on the inhale breath, reach your arms up. And as you exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Inhale to circle, sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, hands to heart, or maybe you just have your palms face down like you're pushing something down. Move with your breath. As you inhale, palms turn out and up. As you exhale, palms turn to face down. Add a little movement as you inhale, palms reach up. Lift the right knee up to hip height. Pause there. As you exhale, slowly lower the right foot down to the ground. Hands press down. Shift the weight to the right foot. Inhale, arms reach up. Lift the left knee up to hip height. Pause at the top. Exhale, left foot comes down, palms face down. Just kind of move at your own pace. As you inhale, you lift the knee. Maybe you get a little wobbly. Exhale, you release, shift the weight over to the right, then lift the left. And see how long you can kind of like hang out in those transitional places. Feeling a little wobbly, but finding your inner strength. Finding your focus and concentration through the breath. Let's do one more on each side. Left leg comes up. Left foot goes down. Right foot comes up, right knee comes up. Right foot goes down, both feet stay down. Bring the hands to heart center. Palms touch one another. Maybe allow your eyes to close or just soften the gaze, whatever feels best for you. And then place one hand onto the belly and one hand onto the heart. And perhaps if it feels like these words resonate for you, you could say, I am safe in this body. And if that's not feeling true, wish it for yourself. May I feel safe in this body. I am safe in this body. Or maybe you keep your eyes open and you look around your space and you say, I am safe in this space. My body is safe in this space. One more breath here. And you can release your arms and just start to slowly fold yourself forward. Bend your knees, hinge at the hips. Come back down to a forward fold. Hang out there. Shake the head out, no. Shake it, yes. Walk your hands forward and feet back to find a downward facing dog. Try not to overthink it. If you'd prefer a child's pose, just take a child's pose. Whatever you choose, take 3 rounds of breath. Feeling the points of contact to the ground. If you're in down dog, feeling the point of contacts that are off the ground. Feeling your strength holding you here. Release your knees if you're in down dog. And then place a block in between your heels and find hero's pose so that your hips come down onto the block. Sit up nice and tall. If you don't have a block, that's okay. You can sit this way or sit cross-legged. If you'd prefer to lay down, lay down. And then palms face up. You can close your eyes or keep them open. And then turn the palms to face down. And then take your 2 pointer fingers and reach them towards the earth beside you. Like you're kind of making a little mountain top with your body. Fingers creating the wide edges of the bottom, the base of the mountain, and the crown of your head being the peak of that mountain. And whatever journey you're on right now, maybe you're just getting started and you feel like you're at the bottom of that hike at the base of the mountain, or you're right near the top, or you're somewhere in the middle. Can you offer yourself some kind words of encouragement, or as words that have really helped me in my life to trust the process? Imagine drawing up grounding energy from the ground underneath you all the way to the crown of your head. Take a breath in. As you inhale, bring all of your awareness to the crown of your head. And as you exhale, feel your awareness move from the crown of your head down your spine to your tailbone. As you breathe in, go all the way back up to the crown of your head. As you exhale, go out to the fingertips, to the base of the ground. One more time. Inhale, awareness all the way to the crown of your head. Exhale down your spine to the base of your tailbone. And release. Let your palms just rest on your legs. Maybe open the eyes if they're not already. And if you feel like you need a little bit more time here for yourself, I would offer you to take some time in a Shavasana or do a body scan meditation. I've got a couple on my website, and I hope that you feel a little bit more grounded, a little bit more at ease in your body and in your heart and in your mind. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you soon.